All right. I'm here, Elijah, brother. Thank you, brother, for joining me. Good to see you. Thank you, brother. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well, man. You and your mom. Good to hear from you. Good to see you. Hope I bless you. I'm going to try my best, man. And anybody else listening who I don't see in the chat, thank you for joining me as well. Let me go ahead and commence by the blowing of the shofar. You won't be able to hear me, I don't think, but I still like to do it anyway. All right. Thank you, Creator EOE, for this opportunity, this incredible opportunity to be a light while I'm in this reality. Thank you for this Friday, for many, the Sabbath day, where we can set it aside and we can meditate, we can give thanks, we can dedicate a little bit of ourselves more fully on this day to the things that you do for us and the overstanding that you give us. Creator, bless this video so that brethren may be encouraged. Anoint my words so that I can do my best according to the highest light that I have, according to the highest overstanding that you give me. Okay, greetings to your mom, Elijah. Greetings to her as well. Oh, there's my cinnamon tea. It's ready. Give me 1 second. Okay, I'm back. And man, I have to tell anybody out there, if you're afflicted and you got any problems with your blood, or as you get older, you know how things kind of break down. I highly recommend this cinnamon tea. I've been taking herbals for the wounds in my feet, and they are, really, Creator's really starting to close them fast. They're about the size of a dollar bill cut in half on my left foot, and my right foot is like the size of a nickel. So it's really, this cinnamon tea, man, it seems to really, there must be some truth to it so far as the medicinal effects. And it's a terrible shame, man, that we in a reality where if you study Rockefeller medicine, you'll see that the reason why we have what's called, I forget, it's a certain type of westernized medicine. There's a name for it. I forgot what it was. Allopathic, I think, medicine. And it's medicine for profit, man. We from what I understand, uh, the natives, they really turned us on to herbs and root plants as a way they dealt with healing, and we got off of that because of the sake of profit. And Rockefeller, he saw how he could encapsulate modified natural herbs and medicines in plastic capsules, which would involve oil, which was his, you know, his, uh, his um, domain. He was an oil man. He owned Standard Oil, and so he funded universities that would teach allopathic, I think it's called allopathic medicine, medicine and pills, and instead of natural herbal root, because see, you can go and get that stuff free if you was really into it, grow it, pick it, eat it, cook it, drink it, and he just had to find a way to profit off of something that the creator gives us really for free. I mean, the processing is, uh, I imagine if you want to mass produce it, it's going to require some funding. But you see how it is. Do you see where we live? We're in a for-profit society, and we can't make it like that. For a while, it worked out for a few people, but now chickens are coming home to roost, ain't they? So now we uh, we got these conflicts springing up. People wanting somebody else's territory because enough ain't enough. Enough ain't enough, man. And now the chickens are coming home to roost, and nobody should be surprised. Nobody should be surprised, man. Thank you for joining me. We made it. We're Friday, weekend off, chance to get away from the present reality in our mind and to focus on the creator and the everyday wonders that you see. And I forgot the screen. I forgot to scroll the screen. The Ten Commandments. So let me do that. Oh, so hope you can see them okay. And I think I got some interesting stuff to share. I'm going to be reading from the Book of Judgment, chapter 1, and um, I was reading it yesterday. I started reading it after I got finished with the Book of Ornothan, and it's hitting. I know that all of you are pretty much, you read, you're familiar with it, but you read so now. Also, what I want to do is in the monologue, I want to talk a little bit about what I started off with, materialism, and the pull, the power that it has on mankind. And the OAHSPE, it mentions it, but not as much as the Third Testament mentions it. So what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to let this scroll, and then I'm going to go right to the Third Testament. I'm going to go to the OAHSPE first, see what it has to say about materialism, because it's really kryptonite, if you ask me, to the world today. It has reverberating effects from one generation to another as one group of people. They hoard it. They hoard the wealth, and they set, British colonialism is a prime example of their attempts to hoard the wealth and to protect it at the cost of other people. And it's only now, see, the creator, only in our day you can see the decline of really British colonialism. That's what we're really witnessing if you're paying attention, if you're not too caught up in the world, and if you're not too, what's a good word for preoccupied with the reality, with the world, which, the materialism of the world. If you have little time to look around you and to see what's going on outside of you, you'll see that we are in a state of decline. Now, I know people have been saying that for a long time, but people like me who watch, we know, and other people who are like minded in spirit, they see the same thing and they're sounding the alarm. we've been talking a little while about imminent conflict globally, and you can tend to put people to sleep, but that doesn't mean the situation is stopped. It's going to affect all of us. And when you hear the Creator talking about it, then you know that this is something real. So, I like to look at it as it keep me on my toes. You know what I mean? When it comes to my spirituality, it keep me on my toes. It keep me wary of the attempts of the evil spirit to bring me back to the flesh, keep me preoccupied in the flesh. You ain't never going to satisfy the flesh, man. You just want more and more and more and more. It's always going to be nagging for more. Ain't got this. We doing without that. We want this. We want that. And as you grow, mature, at some point, you're going to learn that lesson. And that's why it takes, like, when you get a little maturity under you, then you start thinking about spiritual things because you're getting ready that the present, it doesn't last forever. You know what I'm saying? If you're maturing, if you're growing and learning, see, we were reading the other day about the Creator, how he tears down the old and in order to bring out the new. Remember old wineskins and new, you cannot put new wine in the old wineskins. If you do, then you'll make the tear worse. You can't do that. And so I was saying, you brethren, we're the new bottles. Remember we looked at that parable yesterday? What Jesus Christ said? You can't put old wine into new bottles. We read how the Creator said that there was going to come a time when basically faithists were going to grow. They were going to need new understanding. He let the Bible be used for a little while to give us something to believe in, to keep us mindful of spirituality. We didn't have much knowledge of the false gods until the OAHSPE exposed them. And so we were able to, like me, I was a Christian, I was heavy into the Bible. I kind of grew up fast. I grew up really fast in the sense that I think that from the age of like maybe 12 years old, I figured it out. I figured it out in the sense of the cycle of life. And from that time on, I was no good for anything else in life. Nothing was going to inspire me. I knew it. I knew it in my heart. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know how I was going to make it. I was thinking that type of stuff at a really young age. And I'm saying this to let you know that the Creator, in my reality, that's how he dealt with me to bring me to the point where I am right now. I just was struggling with the vanity that I saw all around me. I just could see it. And but the Creator, he carried me just like he carried you your own type of way. I know that you brethren have a testimony too. And so I had to wait. Just like my uncle used to tell me all the time, he always said, back when I was Curtis, he said, Kurt, he said, wait till you hit your stride. Just wait till you hit your stride, meaning wait for the answer to come. That's how I interpreted it. And I had to wait, man. I started looking for the Creator in my early 20s. I started looking for him. And I went through a whole bunch of deception, man. I did some things that, I'm thoroughly ashamed and embarrassed about. But I never quit. It was the only thing I never quit at in life. I never quit, man. I just could not quit. I quit relationships. I quit sports. I quit everything that I was supposed to endure at, but did not because I had a big void. I had a void in my heart. All I knew is that I wanted to know what was not known. And the only thing that I thought to do was I have to look for the Creator, man. I have to look for him. I have to look for him. Had to look for him, man. I got myself engaged a couple of times, and then I purposely sabotaged him. That's about as low as you can get, man. But I knew that if I went down that road, man, if I went down that road, I'll probably never find the creator. So I used to say, I gotta wait until I find the creator, man. I gotta wait. Because until I find him, I cannot give myself to anyone. And so I had to go down a bunch of deception, and I didn't really start hitting my stride until I was in my late 40s. And by then, I gave up on the idea of wanting to be married I just gave up on it. But I had found even when I started hitting my stride, I was still in deception. But I knew that I was getting close. And now I feel that I don't want to say I've arrived, but it's like the creator, it's like he let me off the hook by at least bringing me out of the beast kingdom, man. At least he got me. I don't care what I have to suffer, man. It's just please deliver me from that, man. And I had to wait, brethren, about a good 50 years. But he did it. And so one of the things that I really learned in this reality is materialism. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a little study. I'm going to read this. Let me get this prepared. I'm going to read this during the reading. It's a hard-hitting chapter, man. It's hard-hitting. But first, let me go to show you what the OAHSPE Bible has to say about materialism. Now, it only mentions it a couple of times. So I'm going to go to the Third Testament and speak a little more on this. Now, let me define what materialism is. Let's look at that, shall we? What is the definition of materialism? Now, all of you already know. You got your own idea. I'm just going to, for the sake of discussion, look at the definition. And the definition is materialism. It says a tendency to consider material possessions and physical comfort as more important than the spiritual values. More important than spiritual values. A tendency to consider material possessions and physical comfort as more important than spiritual values. So, if you read the OAHSPE, it says that the unseen shall rule over the seen, The unseen shall rule over the seen. So let's go back to the OAHSPE. Let's look at what it has to say about materialism. Now here, this is the book. Well, this is the tablet of BNA. I don't know what it is. It's let's see. Can't get into it right now. It's too complicated. But when I did the search on it, this is what it brought out. And go back to it. Tablet of BNA is where this comes from. Now, it doesn't mention too much about it. It just says, it calls pan. It says, until a man puts away the pan, and then in parentheses, it has materialism that is in him, he cannot rise even in the lower heavens. See that? But his spirit after death remains in his own house, says Jehovah, a symbol of a horizontal sphere. So that's, if you go back and look at this tablet here, it's explaining what materialism, I think it's talking about this tablet, a horizontal sphere, this right here. You see that? Can you see my cursor? It's explaining that this means materialism. I don't know if you can see my cursor. See these tablets here, they're meant to be interpreted. I can't wait till I get to the tablets. It's going to be fun interpreting these tablets because they convey truth. And so, anyway, again, back here is saying that the Creator is saying, until a man puts away the pan, which is materialism, that is in him, he cannot rise even in the lower heavens. But in his spirit after death remains in its own house, says Jehovah, a symbol of a horizontal sphere. Okay, so that's the danger of materialism right there. And then another thing the OAHSPE said about materialism is it says the Osirian field. He said, now it's interpreting the Osirian field right here in verse 6, the Osirian field. It says, let him who is falsely crowned Osiris build in the Osirian field. Okay. And the Osirian field, according to the footnote, appears to mean materialism, or that material philosophy, which maintains that materiality rules over spirit, not spirit over matter. Now you can make a lot out of that and oh, wait a minute. I wasn't even sharing the screen. Oh man, I got to share the screen. I'm sorry, brother. I got to share the screen. Matter of fact, I can't even see if I'm sharing it on the channel. I think I am, but let me fix my screens here. Make sure I'm sharing it. Yeah, okay. Doggone it. Let me go over it again then. It says here, I better go back to the first definition because I don't think I had the screen up or not. Okay, I'm just establishing what materialism is. Matter of fact, let me go back to the very definition. I don't know if you saw that. Now here, talking about the definition of materialism. A tendency to consider material possessions of physical comfort as more important than spiritual values. Okay, and then you go to the OAHSPE, you see what it says on materialism. It says that Pan is equal. I don't know if it's talking about the continent of Pan. Probably is. The people in it. That's the reason why the Creator sunk it. It was a whole continent he sunk. It says until a man puts away the Pan materialism that is in him, he cannot rise even in the lower heavens. It says, but his spirit after death remains in his own house, says Jehovah. I don't know what his own house is, whether it means his possessions or, you can decide yourself, but it stays with them. That spirit of materialism somehow, and I forgot to share the screen again, man. Every time I start trying to switch screens, if I don't extend the screen, then it won't let me share it. I got to figure something out with this thing. All right. Well, anyway, here it says that it's likened to the continent of Pan, materialism. Basically, it's really like another word for selfishness. And so what I want to do is expand on it a little bit more and see what the Third Testament, I haven't read from the Third Testament in a while, what the Third Testament says about materialism, because it goes into a little more detail about what materialism is. And it looks like, let's see, I probably clicked off of it, so I have to bring it back up. So let me bring up materialism. Third Testament PDF. Now the Third Testament, that's I was into the Third Testament before I found the OAHSPE. And this is a lot of good reading here. I mean, man, this is a lot of good reading. And it helped me to see the Creator more clearly. It helped me to see who the Creator is a little more clearly. And then I came into the OAHSPE and I realized that the Creator, He helped me to get prepared by the reading of the Third Testament. He helped me to prepare my understanding. Okay, so here we are. Now let's look at some verses. Now, materialism, man. I mean, materialism is the world. I mean, to me, that's the Gia that the OAHSPE speaks about. Gia, Jiayay, Ajai. The cloud of darkness comes over the earth and blinds you to the spiritual realities of all things. Materialism, because it's the sight ruling over the spirit, and that's out of balance. If you have that type of mentality, and the whole world has got that, man. Materialism, it blinds you to the spirit. People sacrifice far more for the material than they do the spiritual in this reality. Here's some things that the Third Testament has to say about materialism. This is the Third Testament. Let me make the screen bigger, hopefully, so you can see it. So I'm going to start up here in verse 60. It says, all the signs that were predicted as an announcement of my new manifestation. Now, the thing with the Third Testament that I found problematic is that it speaks on Jesus Christ. And the way you have to interpret this document is you have to see the Jesus Christ of wisdom that is portrayed. I mean, personally, I believe the Bible is a narrative. I think it's I think it's full of symbology, symbolism, and that it's not speaking literally. I never thought I'd say that, but that's really neither here nor there. The context is what I'm trying to show of what a thing is, in this case, materialism, and how it is anti-creator. Materialism is anti-creator. That's my whole thesis that I'm trying to share with anyone who is listening, and the danger of it. And here is spoken about in the Third Testament. It says, all the signs that were predicted as an announcement of my new manifestation among you have now been fulfilled. It says, will the world wait for new manifestations to continue waiting for my return? Now, you have to translate this with Jehovah, not Jesus Christ. That's how you got to interpret this document when it talks about his returning or some type of fulfillment of the second coming. And you have to interpret it as the age we're living in now. People look for a man. When you read this document, you can't interpret it that way. It says, my return, it says, will they do as the Jewish people who had the prophecies of the coming of the Messiah saw their fulfillment, received the Savior in their bosom, did not recognize him, and still continue to wait for him? The experience is very great and painful for this humanity to still be obstinate in their materialism. So I'm just going through different verses. It says, Elijah prepares his multitudes, his legions, to combat the darkness created by the ignorance, sin, fanaticism, and materialism of mankind. Let's just go through some more verses on materialism. It says, now it corresponds to all of you who are prepared and await to announce the liberation of the world. Remember that Elijah, the promised one, for this time is preparing everything to rescue the nations of the earth enslaved by materialism from the rule of Pharaoh, as in that time when Moses did in Egypt with the tribes of Israel. It says, your shepherd has as his mission to restore. And again, when you read this document, translate it, just translate it, man. Translate it to the faithist narrative, because there's this document here is like the Bible in a sense. There's a lot of wisdom in it, but it's problematic for me in that it points too much to Jesus Christ. That's the only problem I have with the Third Testament right now. Is I'm sure that if I went back through it from an OAHSPE point of view, I could find a lot of problems with it. But I'm just trying to point out for this reading the danger of materialism. Materialism. It's a mindset that kills people. And the Third Testament has a lot of good warning about materialism. So that's why I'm referring to this. So I hope nobody stumbles over it. It says, your shepherd has as his mission to restore. Now, look at it. I'm just reading from a creator point of view, from an OAHSPE point of view. That your creator has as his mission to restore all creatures to their true path, whether it be spiritual, moral, or material order, for which I tell you how fortunate shall be the nations that receive the call of the Creator through Elijah. Thus they shall be united by the law of justice and love, which shall bring them peace as the fruit of their overstanding and brotherhood. Thus united, they shall be taken to a field of battle where they shall struggle against evil, materialism, and falsehood. Materialism. It says, in that struggle, the men of this time will see new miracles, and they shall overstand the spiritual sense of life. They shall overstand the spiritual sense of life, that which speaks to them of immortality and peace. They will cease killing one another and realizing that what you should be destroying is your ignorance, your selfishness, and your insane passions, which have given origin to your obstacles and miseries, both material and spiritual, and miseries, both material and spiritual. Then another verse it says, and so in order to be worthy of receiving and transmitting my divine thoughts, they had to struggle against both materialism and temptation. So I should try to get some more context out of this. Now, I'm translating it to where it will be palatable for OAHSPE, for faithist brethren. It says, the Creator has come to you because he has seen that the human word and the doctrines that you have created do not calm the burning thirst of your spirits. See, and this is Third Testament, and it goes along with what we read the other day in the OAHSPE, where the Creator said he tears down the old to bring in the new. Remember the old wine in new bottles, or you can't put new wine in the old wine skins? This goes along with that. You basically are new bottles. You're new bottles. The Creator, he's tearing down the beast kingdom. In the Bible, it says that he allowed this ignorance, which is idolatry and worship of men. He allowed it for a time, knowing that in our weakness, we need something to believe in. He gave it to us, even though it was deception in the sense that you get led to worship a man. He said he allowed that for a while. The time of this ignorance, God winked at, but now commandeth men everywhere to repent, meaning he's calling the children, come out of the beast kingdom, stop worshiping men, And so even this is going along with it. We had a burning thirst for light. That's what's in the heart of faith. We've grown to a point where we can't be fed with the old tradition of myths. There's something we perceive there's a problem with it. You know, we perceived it, and that was the creator. He, like the old saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. That's what happened to us. This burning thirst, man. Even the Third Testament can talk about it. It says a thirst for light. He describing us. A thirst for truth, for eternity, for love. It is therefore that I have the Creator presented himself before you, serving himself with men who were humble, unlearned, and of rough understanding, making them enter the ecstasy of the mind of the Spirit, so that from their mouth might spring the message of the third era. See, the third era, he calls the really cosmic era, is equal to the third era. The third era, really. So let's keep going. We're looking at materialism. It says, he who after receiving this spiritual missive is persuaded of the truth of its contents rises up to struggle against his materialism, idolatry, fanaticism, cleansing those impurities from his understanding and his heart, will free his spirit, providing it with happiness and peace, because he is finally able to struggle and conquer the eternity that awaits him. That's our mission right there. That's our whole mission. If you ever want to know, our mission is the struggle against materialism, which starts in our minds. See? So that, I'm going to show you something, and something I posted where it talks about the requirements for those who do not acquire the third resurrection later on, who somehow fall short of acquiring being a bride or a bridegroom. Right now, I'm just looking at, oh, shoot, it's later than I thought. So let me do a couple more verses on materialism. It says, and yet I tell you, there shall arise a people of the earth full of materialism and disbelief, to deny you the right to call you. And here is faithful to, because the OAHSPE even talks about the Israelites, the Oralites, same thing. He said, there are those who will deny you the right to call yourselves Israel, to deny your testimony of having received the new coming of the Creator, says here Messiah. And these people are the Jews, really the faithists. Have you not thought this? These people await in their bosom the arrival of their Creator, their Savior. Now, I love what ASNF brought out yesterday. Obadiah 1:21. Obadiah 1:21. Saviors shall appear upon Mount Zion, and the kingdom shall be the Lord's, or something like that. How I believe is pertaining to angels working with faithists in signs and wonders. This kind of goes along with that. It says these people await in their bosom the arrival of their Messiah, their Savior, from whom they will receive justice and who will place them once again over all the peoples of the earth. These people know that I have always come to them, and in this third era I shall say, why should God come to another people? But here are my teachings. See, it's interesting, man, the way that the Creator, he appeals to your common sense. Here he says, why should God come to another people? You brethren have been called out of the beast kingdom. You brethren who hear the create. I mean, you know, you only can do it because the creator is it's the creator that is giving witness. He's giving witness to all of us to seek his face. He puts it in our bosom to do that. And then we forsake materialism, the dainties of life, the material of the world. See, it's getting kind of late now. So, anyway, materialism. Let me go to a couple of things. Let me turn from that now and go to my room and just share some things that I've been sharing from the studies that I've been doing so far as the Book of Jehovah, using my AI software that I recently purchased, using that to help me study. And so I'm just going to share some things that I've recently come up with. And here's something that I shared the other day. It says, what is required of those who have not acquired the third resurrection? It says, seek wisdom directly from Jehovah, the eternal Father. Pray for the way to the ancients. Mold your thoughts and spirit upward. It says, aspire upward through model and emulation provided by the angels of Jehovah. Have a mortal king or ruler. Now, that's what I mean by sometimes you got to watch this AI. That's problematic right there. And I think it's only because you can only do a file at a time. You can only do a certain amount of pages at a time. It doesn't have all the information, but it gives you enough to work with. Here, I wouldn't agree with this at all. So far as a requirement for the third resurrection, a mortal king or ruler, unless I'm misunderstanding something. Now, it says abide by laws. It says, now this is, remember the question is, what is required for those who have not acquired the third resurrection? It says, abide by laws, be subject to enforcement through the sword and the prison. Now, that's very serious right there, because it's saying, oh, I think I get it. It's just coming into my mind that this should be have no mortal king or ruler. I think this is supposed to say have no mortal king or ruler, because that's faithful to the OAHSPE. It says abide by laws. Again, this is all talking about what is required for those who fail to acquire the third resurrection. It says be subject to enforcement through the sword and the prison. That means no matter what trial comes upon you, give way, be non-resistant. It says follow the guidance of the spirits of darkness, lies, and deceptions if they hide their deceit, unless they are of the third resurrection. It says follow the guidance of the spirits of darkness, lies, and deception if they hide their deceit, unless they are the third resurrection. So here, this is discombobulated as well. We don't follow spirits of darkness, lies. So there's something that is afflicted with AI. Unless I'm misunderstanding something, but you can see an affliction in the programming. There's enough in it to get some fruit out of it, though. It says here, follow the guidance of spirits of darkness, lies, and deceptions. It says if they hide their deceit, unless they are the third resurrection. It's pretty nonsensical. It needs more information. It says live for self, isolate themselves and interact inorganically with neighbors. See, that live for self part. I mean, man, I've never seen so many mistakes. We don't live for ourselves. We don't isolate ourselves from other brethren. We don't interact and from what I understand, organically with neighbors means a I can't translate it. It's like a living way, or I don't know. This right here, that I mean, these two, they just don't make no sense to me. It says permit angels of atmosphere to minister them. Okay, check. It says transcend corporal senses. Check. Understand their own spirit. Check. Rise above individualities. Check. Meaning selfishness. Become comprehensive in expression. Okay, I can receive that. Meaning be manifold, flexible in your dealings. It says acquire spiritual knowledge by observing unseen causes that quicken memory and perception. Okay, check. Now, except for these couple things, I think it's pretty faithful to the OAHSPE. What is required for those who have not acquired the third resurrection? And then this comes from the Book of Jehovah, and it says the first fruits of the resurrection in cosmic era are individuals who have been quickened by Jehovah to signs and miracles. They possess the ability to attain suis, meaning to be able to see the unseen, to hear the unseen, talk with the unseen. They become brides and bridegrooms of Jehovah. They hear the voice of Jehovah. They comprehend his person, being called Te. And again, Te is a collective term for faithless brethren. It's like one word describing a race of people, a group of people, a fellowship of people. And I think I asked, I don't know how I got to this verse right here. I forget what I asked it, but it mentions the three realms. There are three realms. There's a corporal, which is the physical world where material existence occurs. There's the atmospheric. It's an intermediary realm between the corporal and ethereal realms. And then there's the ethereal realm, a high spiritual plane beyond the physical, where higher beings and angels dwell. And then here's something else from the study that I was doing in the OAHSPE Book of Jehovah. It said, what is the overlap between the Book of Ben, that should be Ben, Ben, and the Book of Knowledge? What is the overlap? It says the overlap between the Book of Ben and the Book of Knowledge is primarily centered around themes of spiritual growth, service to others, selflessness, prayer, pursuit and wisdom and enlightenment, enlightenment, judgment, and categorization of individuals based on their actions and belief, resurrection and progression through different levels of spiritual development. See, so again, there you see the elevating, how we're called to elevate to, as we grow, we become less and less sensitive to our corporal and more sensitive to our spiritual. I mean, we don't forsake the corporal because the objective for us as faith is balance, is a balance between physical and corporal. That's described as development. It says both books emphasize the importance of serving others selflessly. spiritual development, prayer, connection with the divine, selflessness, prophecy, understanding of cosmic cycles, development of spiritual senses, foundation of a kingdom of light, individual responsibility, judgment, categorization of individuals based on behaviors, resurrections, and progression through different spiritual levels based on actions and beliefs. So I see here a categorization of brethren. You have brethren that will be fitted. We all will be fitted to the realm that we belong to, will be perfectly fitted. I can't understand it, but that's what the creators seem to be saying. That we all are destined to the realm where our spirit will be most conducive to. It sounds like what he's saying. It says, here's something that I also decided to share about. It says, wisdom is perceived in the document as a multifaceted concept that involves. So, see, the themes are pretty much all the same. You know, you read all throughout the OAHSPE. The characteristics don't change for the idea that the creator has called us to. We get constantly reminded of the same characteristics of what the creator calls maturing in our spirit, elevating, making the harvest, making the resurrection. These are all the requirements right here, and they're pretty much all the same. Serving Jehovah selflessly, doing good for others, seeking light and guidance through prayer and selfless action, self-reflection, self-improvement, devotion to spiritual growth, judging oneself and aligning with higher spiritual principles, cultivating talents for the benefits of others, understanding the importance of personal development. Oh, time for the reading, man. Time for the reading. Understanding the importance of personal development, spiritual enlightenment, and prophetic abilities, pursuing knowledge, foreseeing events, and working towards a kingdom of peace and love on earth. Combining corporal and spiritual knowledge. See, you know, from what I understand, that's what you brethren here on earth, that's the advantage. We have an advantage being here on the earth, learning corporal things. Not everybody is allowed to do that or able to do it. In the spiritual realm, from what I understand, there's a benefit of going through earth life, getting that corporal understanding, just like there's a benefit for married brethren to be married, to devote yourself to somebody, dedicate yourself like that. There's a benefit to that. There's a special blessing for that from what I've seen in the OAHSPE. It says understanding seen and unseen aspects of life. Pursuit. Now, this again, the question is, it says wisdom is perceived like this. I'm reading the aspects of how wisdom is perceived. Understanding seen and unseen aspects of life, perceiving the presence of Jehovah in spiritual enlightenment, judging individuals based on talents and works, recognizing the consequences of actions and the afterlife, transcending corporal desires for spiritual growth, recognizing the importance of awareness and spiritual development, perceiving higher realms and aligning with spiritual truth, seeking understanding, enlightenment, truth, light, navigating life's complexities, and aligning with spiritual principles. Discerning between darkness and light for spiritual enlightenment, discerning between right and wrong, understanding Jehovah's teachings and following its guidance. Serving others, contributing positively to society, making decisions aligned with higher spiritual principles. Determining one's place in the afterlife based on actions and intentions during earthly life. So it's the here and now that sets the stage for the here and after, or the hereafter. And that's pretty much just a basic rundown of the OAHSPE doctrine. You know, aside from the rites and ceremonies and the communities that we're called to live in and establish. These are like a core set of values. It's pretty much redundant throughout the OAHSPE from what I could see. We have stories of people who fall short. We have stories of the Ethereans, the high raised angels, and their example, constantly singing, constantly praising, constantly talking about the glory to come, how everything is geared towards our elevation. That's all that matters to the creator, man. Everything you read. It's time for the reading of the word. I'm a little late, so let's get to that. Now, I'm going to be reading from let me share the screen here. Got to expand it and then share it. There we go. So, the book of judgment, I know that you brethren are most likely familiar with it. I think it's just an incredible thing. All of it's good. So let's go ahead with the book of judgment. May the Creator bless the reading of His word. It says, being the grades and rates of mortals and angels in the light of God, as the word came to E.S., who is the daughter of Jehovah. Okay. Chapter 1. It says, let me make this bigger. Okay. It says, these are the words of the judgment by the will of God, Jehovah's Son, as rendered by E.S. Now, E.S. in the OAHSPE Bible means spirit world. E.S. means the spirit world. The teachings of this book correspond with the information received from enlightened angels, spirits, wherever they have communicated. So it says, these are the words of judgment by the will of God, Jehovah's Son, is rendered by E.S. for the resurrection of man. Verse 2, hear the words of your God, O man. I am your elder brother of tens of thousands of years' experience, prophet in my wisdom, and learn the discourse of your God. Jehovah, creator of all things, spoke to me, your God, saying, hear me, O God, my ambassador of the earth and her heavens, for this are your season. Obey my mandates and teach mortals and angels. Now, he says of this your season. And it's like he's talking to a God here, but he's talking to the gods whose time has come to rule over the earth, is how I see it. So, just so that it's like Jehovah is laying out his template for the earth, and it's being described as him speaking to a God whose time. It's like, okay, it's your turn. Here's what I want you to do. He calls him his ambassador of the earth and her heavens. He says, for this is your season. Okay, now it's your turn. Do this. Obey my mandates. Teach mortals and the angels of your lower heavens to know me and to rejoice in my creation. The time has come when the light of your inspiration and your angels shall extend around the whole earth and her heavens also. In all former cycles, my gods had to deal with separate divisions of the earth. My revelations were to each for a special time, which is now at hand. I have prepared this land. You brethren, you know what land he's talking about, right? He's talking about the United States. See there on the screen? Guatemala, North Guatemala, called the United States of America. He prepared this land for this time that we're in right now. The Creator said, this is why I created it. He said, I have prepared this land untrammeled. Well, untrammeled, it means, unproblematic, unafflicted, pure, righteous, holy. He said he prepared this land untrammeled, untrampled upon. I prepared this land untrammeled with gods, saviors, and lords, enforced by the sword. Now, wait a minute. Hold on a second, because I see something different here. Let's look at this word, untrammeled. Now, let's see. Let's share the screen if it'll let me. Okay, I think it did let. Okay, untrammeled is not confined. It's not limited. Okay, so that's good enough for us, really. I don't need to get any more definitions from it. Let's see. I guess it wouldn't hurt to read this. Let's see what it says. It wants to be uncomplicated, or it wants to be complicated. So let's just go with this definition here. It says it's not confined, it's not limited or impeded. Okay, so Creator saying, I made America not limited, not confined, not or unimpeded. It says, I have prepared this land not limited, not confined, or unimpeded with gods, saviors, and lords, enforced by the sword, so that my revelation to this day shall be published and not suppressed. I still don't get it. Who he says, I have prepared this land untrammeled with gods, saviors, and lords. And then he says, enforced by the sword. So are these the beast kingdom? Because they're enforced by the sword. So they use force. So that I don't understand this. Maybe you can get it. I'll read it, but I don't fully get it, how to translate it. He says, I have prepared this land untrammeled with gods, saviors, and lords, enforced by the sword, so that my revelation to this day shall be published, not suppressed. And ye shall reveal to mortals the plan of my worlds, and as to who you are, and the method of your inspirations, dominion on the earth, and her heavenly kingdoms. You shall keep the gates of heaven open for a season, and the spirits of the dead shall commune with mortals, good and evil, wise and foolish, and mortals shall see them and walk with them face to face. And they shall recognize their own kin, sons and daughters, fathers and mothers, brothers and sisters, the dead and the living. Whether that's talking about Cosmin, I don't know. Cosmin there could be. Oh, I've got to share it again. Okay, this is what I read. This is so I don't have to go back over it again. And then it says, you shall keep the gates of heaven open for a season, and the spirits of the dead shall commune with mortals, good and evil, wise and foolish. The mortals shall see them and talk with them face to face, and they shall recognize their own kin, sons and daughters, fathers and mothers, brothers and sisters, the dead and the living. So whether that's referring to the time we're living right now or previous, I think it's referring to time we're living in right now, cosmic, reappearance of our relatives in spirit form. It says, and the angels shall demonstrate the subtlety of corporal things in the capacity of one solid to pass through another solid uninjured. So it's like, sounds like the angels they will show us what we would call miracles. Like taking a piece of paper and passing it through a wall and nothing happening to either one. He says, verse 7, yes, angels shall bring heavy substances from great distances and cast them down in the presence of mortals who shall see these things done and testify to it. So it sounds like it's saying that we're going to be given a witness. I'm going to share it with the world. A lot of us faith this all of a sudden. And man shall understand that even as plants, trees, fish, and serpents can be wielded by my angels, so also can virus and pestilence be carried by angels of darkness to cast mortals into death. Boy, ain't that the truth. And you shall allow evil spirits and all manner of druids, vampires, and engrafters to come and manifest the mortals, so they may know that my revelations unfold the matters of earth and heaven. He said, for man shall understand what I mean by the words, as you live on earth, so shall you reap in heaven. For man shall understand what I mean by the words, as you live on the earth, so shall you reap in heaven. Isn't that interesting? If you're given to materialism, then you'll be given to it in the spiritual. Is that what he's saying? It sounds like it. He says, and you shall allow to fall into darkness those mortals who consult the angels with regard to riches, marriage, or self, or for curiosity, frivolity, or for anything of an earthly nature for profit's sake. They shall prosper for a season, but end in being confronted with folly and falsehood. And whoever asks for spirits of great men, allow him to be deceived by druges and all manner of lying spirits, just like that verse that I remember Brother Cosman reading, that if you are evil, you'll be answered by evil. If you are pure, you'll be answered by pure spirits. Verse 13, and whoever asks of the sergeants for great men or for Moses, Jesus or Christ, or for any well-known name as applied to ancient times, allow him to be, oh, there it is right there. It's not saying exactly what I was saying, but it's saying if anybody asks for great men or Moses or Jesus or Christ or any well-known name applied to ancient times, allow them. Creator is saying that's evil. Let an evil spirit answer them and a deceiver. He said, whoever desires the angels for profit's sake, meaning you pray for wealth, show me how to make $1 billion. Whoever desires the angels for profit's sake, and he has power and sergeants to give him a band of druids and vampires, give them great power and signs and miracles. Now it says, whoever desires the angels for profit's sake, and he has power and sergeants, give to him a band of druids and vampires, give them great power and signs and miracles. So me and Dave, we were talking yesterday, and I asked him a question about, he said there are people on the earth who can do miracles right now. And I asked him, was it on the left hand or right hand? And so this seems to be saying that it's more likely people can do these things because they're on the left-hand side, the wicked, the evil side. They have the power to break what we call normality. They have the power to break that vibration. And when people see that, they're amazed. And they'll do anything you say. And it's like the Creator saying, okay, give them that power for the sake of deceiving people. If that's what they want, if that's, it's really a form to me of, it sounds like some type of form of pleasing the flesh, miracles, out of the ordinary things that people have more respect for than the knowledge of the Creator. I could be wrong. It says, and whoever consults the angels without regard to becoming a better man himself, allow him to become captive to lying spirits. How do you like that, man? How do you like the Creator? How do you like him, man? Wow. If you and whoever consults the angels without regard to becoming a better man himself, allow him to become a captive to lying spirits. Allow him to become a captive to lying spirits. You see how the Creator does it? If you're corrupt, let me help you. Okay, you want to be corrupt? Here, let me help you. Is that what you want? Your heart knows. All right, that's what you want. Okay, send him a lying spirit. It says, verse 16, and to all men who feed on fish or flesh, you should allow vampires to inhabit them. You know, vampires suck blood. The life of the flesh is in the blood. And to those who drink to drunkenness or smoke or take narcotics, you shall allow feeders and engrafters to come upon them. Isn't that something? And in families whose heirs are born from parents wed for earthly considerations, you shall allow spirits of obsession to enter and drive them mad. You know, royalty does that a lot, don't they? They have arranged marriages. You know, they have these high society functions. You know, they get to know each other, and the parents try to match up their children with the parents of with the child of another, with uh, other parents in the same, marrying money into money. That's the objective. Money, marrying money, arranged marriages. It sounds like that's what the Creator is saying here. He says, and in families whose heirs are born from parents wed for earthly consideration, you shall allow the spirits of deception to enter and drive them mad. Isn't that something? I wish I could find a story that validates this. I think I've seen those type of stories where it's almost like the children, they realize their privilege and how they oppress people. They got there by the oppressed. See, they realize, I've seen it, it's called, what do they call it in the world? It's some type of regret, that some children of rich parents have where they are rich and they feel convicted. They're convicted because of their wealth. And the Creator says that when you have a family, and I'll translate it according to my highest light, that He's saying, for those of you who have arranged marriages for the sake of, for earthly considerations, I think that would mean to keep the money, keep it concentrated among yourselves. It seems like He's saying He shall allow spirits of obsession to enter and drive the hearers, and probably the people who do this type of thing mad. He says, and in the families whose hearers are born from parents wed for earthly considerations, you should allow talking about, he's talking, now who is he talking to again? He's talking to the God of this earth at this time. He said, you should allow spirits of obsession to enter and drive them mad. He says, verse 19, for they shall be made to know the meaning of the word hell. How do you like that? How do you like that, man? Crater don't talk too much don't talk too much in this way in the OAHSPE. He said, well, they shall be made to know the meaning of hell. And I think it's because of their materialism. You plot and you plan, to hold on to that money, keep it within the family. It's like you don't want to share it. He said they'll be made to know the meaning of hell as applied to the lower heavens. He's calling the lower heavens hell. And I have to think that's in comparison to the higher heavens, the first resurrection, the second resurrection, the third resurrection, Ethereum. The Creator, man. He says, and to whomever worships gods or saviors because of miracles, you shall give them plenty of miracles and signs through unclean spirits, through mortal sarges, mediums of low grade, and more. You shall let spirits of darkness assume to be these very gods, so that mortals can be made to know what manner of evil spirits dwell in their churches and temples. So it sounds like the Creator is saying, he allows spirits to come. Hey, do you know I was Caesar thousands of years ago? And I'm coming to you to tell you that make sure you start praying to Luamon, the false god. I know people say he's false, but really he's not. See? How else would I be able to come back from the dead and talk to you like this if it wasn't for him? So make sure you pray to him from now on and don't listen to those faithists. See? Reappearing spirits of darkness. They can assume even to be famous people. They can come back to assume to be these very gods, these great men, so that mortals can be made to know the manner of evil spirits dwell in their churches and temples. In other words, how they operate. He said, verse 21, and to the rich man who makes pretense to righteousness, but who does not do toward the poor as to himself, you shall give him a host of spirits of hypocrisy and lying, so that he may realize the company he is preparing for his own spirit. Wow! Hey, Mahalia, sister. Thanks for joining us. Good to see you. How you doing? Doing okay? I'm reading from Book of Judgment, chapter 1. And in this reading, man, the Creator he's showing, hey, he ain't no joke, man, Doing good, sister. Glad you're here. See, this is side we don't really read about too much about the Creator, man, But he making sense with his word. See? Don't let anybody think, man, that, you just get away with it. It sounded to me like the Creator, I've listened to some near-death experiences, and they talk about having to feel the pain of everybody they have hurt in their life. Having to feel the pain. If you don't take care of it here, you don't repent of that and you know what I mean, do it right now in this reality. It's just like the old commercial, pay me now, pay me later. See, we're described as we need to be washed when we leave this reality. It's like we got to be washed. You know how a baby is born? What's the first thing they do? Okay, outside of cutting the umbilical cord, you know what I mean? What's the first thing that they do? They wash the child. Same with us. We got to get this. We got to get this muck off of us. At least from what I understand, you fake this. We got to be purified, man. It says, give signs and miracles to the unclean seer as well as to the clean, to the liar and deceiver as well as to the truthful man. Creator says, give signs and miracles to the unclean seer as well as to the clean. Now, why does he say to the unclean as well as the clean? To the liar and deceiver as well as the truthful. Why does he say that? He says, for I will destroy the worship of all gods, lords, and saviors on the basis of miracles. But why do you say you give it to the unclean and the clean, Eoe? Why do you say you give signs and wonders to the clean and the unclean? You say you give signs and miracles to the unclean seer as well as to the clean. If anybody wants to answer this, put it in the chat. You know, I don't want to try to come across like I know everything. You know, what do you think this is saying? Give signs and miracles to the clean, unclean, as well as to the clean, to the liar and deceiver, as well as truthful man. And then he says, "For I will destroy the worship of all God's lords and saviors on the basis of miracles." Okay, but still, why do you say you give miracles to the unclean as well as to the clean? You say you give signs and miracles to the unclean. Why do you do that? He says, "For I will destroy the worship of all gods." So it's I think he's saying it won't matter. It doesn't matter. Anybody, no matter who has these signs and what, he's going to destroy it all. Let me see, Elijah. He says the corrupt spirits can give the seer false miracles. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree. I don't know if that answers my question. Is why does he give it to both? Why does he give signs and miracles to both? I would think the clean is going to do it to glorify the Creator, and the unclean is going to do it to profit. You know, merchandise it like they do in the world today. We just got finished reading about the mediums. People go to mediums. They go to mediums, and mediums, I found out a lot of them, they have this little trick they do where you sit down at the table and they do something underneath the table to convince the person who's consulting them to trick them. There's something they do underneath that table. There's some type of trick they use. Let me see. Mahalia says, "So you can't say you didn't know." Okay, let me see. So you can't say you didn't know. I don't know if I get you. I don't know if I get you. She says, "So you can't say you didn't know." Now let me show that for a second. Okay, now the verse I'm questioning here, it says, "Give signs and miracles to the unclean seer as well as to the clean, to the liar and the deceiver as well as the truthful man." Okay, but why do you give them to both, Creator? Why do you give them to both? He says, "For I will destroy." Mahalia says, "When you hear the truth." I still don't get it. I still don't. I don't know, Let me see, Mahalia says, "When you hear the truth." It says, "So you can't say you didn't know." So you can't say you didn't know when you hear the truth. But wouldn't you say an unclean seer is not going to tell the truth, is going to deceive? Whereas the clean, don't you think that they will tell you the truth? I don't know. I don't get it. When I get it, I'll let you know. But you, brother, if you want to keep putting in the chat what you uh answering this, and I'll read it. But right now, it's just one of them. Sometimes you read, you get blanks. Oh, I didn't see that part. This part I got highlighted. It says, "For I will destroy the worship of all God's lords and saviors on the basis of miracles. And you shall take great liars and give them lying spirits to speak through them by inspiration and entrancement." I'm going to say something, man. I got to say something. Benjamin Netanyahu came to speak in America the other day. And I'm telling you, he's a man working on his lower vibration, and he's a Scorpio. That's why he's about the killing he is doing. That's why I don't know if you, brother, know who he is and what's been going on over there. This is a man in charge of Israel, the prime minister. He's a Scorpio. He's working on his lower vibration. That means people usually end up dying around them when they're on their lower vibration. Well, he's also corrupt. And in order to avoid going to jail, he has to stay in office. So he's found, okay, Mahal, you know who he is? Yeah. He is really working on his lower vibration. And his wife is one too. See? And and their thing is survival. Scorpio, their thing is survival. And he's a good example. Out of all the trouble and evil that man has done, he survives somehow. See, it's spiritual. And he knows in order to stay out of jail, he's got to stay in office. So he's found a agenda that will keep him in office for the foreseeable future, because they are at war with a people that can't even defend themselves. And he just keeps saying that he's going to wipe out an ideology. Now, you can't do that. And what I mean by that is, if somebody, let's say you go and kill somebody's family, man, if there's one child left in that family, more than likely he's going to grow up, he's going to wait his time to get you back, even if it takes all of his life. It's like the old saying, if you kill a king, man, when you go against him, you better kill him, you know? And so he has found a way to keep himself in office by saying that he's going to defeat an ideology. That means that he'll be in war with these people forever. See, he's a liar. That man, he is a liar. He came and spoke to the House of Representatives, the Congress, the other day, and it was a terrible shame. He insulted America, and he's just given to lying because he knows people ain't going to fact check him. And he doesn't allow the things he says to be put into context anyway. He never gets challenged. So he just lies. He's given over to it now, man. He'll just lie in order to forward his agenda. He'll lie. He don't care about the truth. And the Creator says, you shall take great liars. Let me see. Elijah says, Mahali says he's in union. Well, you got that right. From knowing what I read in OAHSPE, I'm sorry, brother, but you are under the influence of an evil spirit. And gods are over spirits, are influences. And then Elijah said, yeah, I saw the protesters against him. Oh, really? Yeah. Spilling blood on the outside of the White House. Yeah. See, we're the Western Hemisphere, the leaders. And see, if I may digress for a second, we got problems. We got serious problems, man. You know, we got people ruling over us that working on their lower vibration. If you would have heard that man's speech and how he don't seem to have one shred of empathy for the people. The man is sending jets, F-35s, to bomb people who can't even defend themselves. Now, the OAHSPE, it absolutely forbids offensive and defensive war. He forbids it. And to bomb somebody they can't even defend themselves. And he sends jets after them. See? You got to be some type of evil spirit, man, to do things like that. Children, women. See? The Creator says, he shall take great liars. He says, you shall take, talking to the gods over the rulership of the earth at this time, he says, you shall take great liars and give them lying spirits to speak through them by inspiration and entrancement. See that man, Netanyahu, he's under a spirit. And they're inspiring him to speak lies. Mahalia says he wants to wipe them out. That's his agenda. Yeah. Yeah. He wants to wipe them, and really what you brethren may not know, the reason why he's trying to steal that land. See, there are many agendas at play with what is going on over there. Number one, I don't know if you brethren know, but did you know that right off of the coast of Gaza, when you get time, type on the internet the Leviathan oil fields. Leviathan oil fields, and look at where it's situated. You know where it's situated? It's situated right off the coast of Gaza. See there? It's situated right off the coast of Gaza. And you know who wants that oil? Do you know how much that oil is worth? It's worth billions of dollars. You see? It's worth billions of dollars. There was a geological survey done on it in the 60s. So the plan has been ever since then to steal that oil field. Ever since the 60s, man. And Israel gives a convenient reason to seize that oil field and also to build a canal which will replace the Suez Canal. So you see how what the Bible says is so true? The love of money is the root of all evil. It's the root of all evil. And people don't matter anymore. See, that's what we ain't being told. Go ahead, go online, Google the Leviathan oil fields. So you got a few things at play here. You got a man who wants to stay in office because the moment he leaves, he's got to leave that life of luxury for a bathroom-sized prison cell. Ain't no man going for that. Not after all the 10-star meals you get for free. The kickbacks. Ain't no man giving that up easily. See what I mean? You see the situation he's in? And he's created a condition where it can never be fixed. The destruction of the people that are opposing him, because as long as there's one child, man, and they're going to remember what was done to their family, and they're going to want payback. You see what I mean? So you cannot destroy an ideology. See? That's the situation we're in. And he came here the other day, and that man I couldn't even listen to it. I couldn't, and they stood there and clapped. These people are ruling over us. Those people, do you know, at one point he had to tell them not to clap. Look at the video yourself, man. Every 10 seconds, man, they started clapping because they get paid. They get paid. AIPAC, the Jewish lobby, they got them in their back pocket, and they look at the videos to see who's not clapping. You see where we live? That's where we live, man. You know what I mean? These people are sold out. They're sold out. They're bought and paid for. That's why we can't make it. We cannot make it, man. I don't mean to sound dire, but I'm telling you the truth. See, faithists are running for their life, man. We are running for our ever loving spiritual life, man. Brethren, I hope you run. I hope that I hope we make the third resurrection, man. I hope we make it. Get way off of the earth and the tabraks. It says, and these spirits shall profess the names of great persons long since dead, and they shall manifest great oratory, wisdom, and truth. But nevertheless, their preaching shall be of little benefit for righteousness' sake or for good works. You know, the Creator is not going to anoint their words. These people who are going to call on the names of great persons, they're probably going to receive an anointing to do great oratory, have wisdom and truth, but it won't profit. It says, but nevertheless, their preaching shall be of little benefit for righteousness' sake or for good works. It says, and they're applauding audiences. Isn't that interesting? And there, let me go back up, man, and where he talks about the rich man. I love that point, man. Look at this. You see how the Creator, this is how he do business. He say, and to the rich man who makes pretense to righteousness, but who does not work toward the poor as himself, you shall give him a host of spirits of hypocrisy and lying, so that he may realize the company he is preparing for his own spirit in heaven. So you raise up, right? You rich, right? You wear a suit and a tie and shiny shoes so you can impress people. People can look at you and say, oh man, that's an honorable man right there. Look, he got a tie on, he wearing a suit, he got shiny shoes. That's a man with character right there. But secretly, he does not do to the poor as he would himself, see? And the Creator, he said, give him a host of spiritual hypocrisy and lying, so that he may realize the company he's preparing for his own spirit in heaven. So it's like the Creator saying, he's going to make it revealed to that man. These are the people that you're going to keep company with. They're going to be full of hypocrisy and lying, just like you. See? You're going to keep company with them. See? The Creator, if you want to be wicked and evil, if you want to be walking around bullying people, if you want to be, tricking and scamming people, Creator he says, you're going to be, that's the place you're going to go to. See, you thought you got away with it. Now you're preparing the place and you're going to be keeping company with these people. See, that's what he's saying. Sound like to me. He said, give signs and miracles to the unclean seer as well as to the clean, to the liar and deceiver, as well as the truthful man. For I will destroy the worship of all God's Lord Saviors on the basis of miracles. I'm getting some understanding on that now, but I can't go into it because it's time for the end of the video. It says, and you shall take great liars and give them lying spirits to speak through them by inspiration and entrancement. Great liars, take the great liars, give them lying spirits to speak through them. They're going to inspire the lying spirits through inspiration and entrancement. That's what they're going to use. And these spirits shall profess the names of great persons long since dead. So they're going to appear to people and say, I'm Alexander the Greek. And I'm coming to you in the reincarnation. There ain't no reincarnation. I'm going to engraft you. So you can go out and tell them, hey, really, I'm Alexander the Greek in the resurrection. In the reincarnation. Yeah, that's me. Or I used to be Samson, and they shall manifest great oratory, wisdom, and truth, but nevertheless their preaching shall be of little benefit for righteousness' sake or for good works. And their applauding audiences will not contribute to the poor, nor establish any improvement on the doctrines of the ancients, for the spirits who speak through them shall be the first resurrection of the inorganic heavens, not knowing me or the higher kingdoms. Truly, they shall be of the same order as the spirits who minister in the churches and temples. being those spirits who have not yet been delivered up from the earth. You see that? Look at that. Materialism, not delivered from it, seeking your own, not knowing anything other than what you see in the here and now, the five senses, the materiality. That's where we live, brethren. We surrounded by this stuff. You turn on the TV, you look at a newspaper, walk down the street, everything is about, it's about materialism. I'm going to say it again. There's a video on YouTube called Gold Diggers, right? That's where these super attractive women, this guy, right? Well, they're not all attractive to me, not all of them, but these women, and they, this guy, he'll take his car. I'll never forget that one episode where this dude, he had on some type of like a common man's uniform, like a uniform. I don't want to disparage anybody, but he had a work uniform on that said that I don't make a lot of money, right? And then he went up and he started talking to, he wanted to, hey, I'd like to meet you. I think you're very attractive. I'd like to get to know you, that sort of thing, And they were, no, no, I gotta go. No, I can't, the dude went out and rented a luxury car, right? And he parked it in the same place, And then they, all of a sudden, man, he shoot, man, life was great. Oh yeah, here's my number. I'll go with you. No, I ain't married, even though these children are with me. I bought them and I'm keeping them for somebody else. No, I can go with you, wherever you are. Now men do the same thing, But I'm pointing it out, man, because that's the first resurrection. You're looking at the corporeal. You're looking at the physical man. But it's the spiritual that rules over the physical. You see? It's like on the flip side, you get a faithist. He sees a sister. She says, "Oh, I'm in the OAHSPE." Well, brother, she's worth dying for. That's a real prize right there. You know what I mean? So that's like the flip side, for faithists. But there's the corporeal and then there's the physical. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to give an example of both. And it's a terrible shame because the corporeal is always only temporary. He says, "For the spirits who speak through them shall be the first resurrection of the inorganic heavens, not knowing me or the higher kingdoms. Truly, they shall be of the same order as the spirits who minister in the churches and temples, being those spirits who have not yet been delivered up from the earth. And some shall say, 'Hear me, for I am God.' Some shall say, 'Hear me, for I am the Lord.' Some shall say, 'Hear me, for I am Jehovah.' And others shall profess the names of mortals who had great power on the earth. And you shall let them do these things. Let them go. Let them go." It said, "For I will make man understand that he shall accept nothing from angels or men because of the name professed. Only on the merit of wisdom, truth, and good doctrines that raise men out of darkness, poverty, and crime shall they accept either spoken or written words by your works of faith and love for your brethren. And they shall try to organize and carry out good works, but they shall fail. For many will desire to be leaders, being under the influence of selfish considerations, desiring the applause of men." So the best efforts of the corporal man, it cannot succeed. If it ain't internal, if you want to be in front of men, if you want to, you want to dominate your brother, you always say he ain't going to bless it. He ain't going to bless it. He ain't going to bless it. So that will be the concluding of the reading of this word. That would be the concluding of the reading of this. Well, maybe I can go on to the end. Might as well. I'm almost there. It says that they will profess freedom, but they will not pledge themselves to any sacrifice, either money or opinion, for the sake of the public good. And little good shall come out of their works, even less peace of soul shall come to them. For they shall dispute and quarrel, being divided in all their ideas, philosophies, sentiments, and in their overstanding of my kingdoms. For by this you shall know them, they are under the inspiration of the unorganized spirit world, and spirits who have not yet entered into my organic resurrections, which I created for them. But in time of the light of my revelations, you shall raise up a few, that's you faithists, see, raise up a few here and there, capable of the all light, and you shall cause these to form a basis for my kingdom on earth. That's talking to you, brethren, right here. Talking about faithists. He said, look at that. I'm gonna raise up a few. I'm gonna raise up a few here and there, capable of the all light, and you shall cause these to form a basis for my kingdom on earth. And they shall forswear all gods, lords, and saviors, but profess me the great spirit Jehovah. And they shall pledge themselves to no one in fullness as brothers and sisters, holding their possessions in common. See, to live for the sake of perfecting themselves, others in spirit, and for good works. They shall not eat fish or flesh, or any creature that breathes the breath of life. They shall keep the seventh day as the day of communion with me and my angel hosts, with rites and ceremonies. Okay, so we should read the footnote on that real quick. It says, encompassing comprehensive treatment. Can't compute that. It says with rites and ceremonies explanatory of all doctrines in the world, practicing good for evil, non-resistance to persecution and abuse. It says they shall abjure war, even if necessary, by submitting to death rather than take part of it. And they shall become an organic body in communities, tens, twenties, hundreds of thousands, but they shall have no leaders, only their creator. They shall be organic for the sake of good work. They shall live only for good works. I mean, that word organic means that. It says, but they shall not go about preaching for sinners to go to repentance. See, that's what we're doing right now. We ain't trying to proselytize, you know. You come to the creator, man. You know enough, you've seen enough to know that he exists. We don't need to go bending and bowing to anyone. If you want the light, then it's going to show in your heart. Your heart is going to come to it. It ain't the other way around no more. It says, nor preaching for charity to the poor. And we ain't gonna have to where people know that that's right. You already know it's right to do that. You don't need to be told. It says, but they themselves shall go about gathering up sinners. So ain't going to be no more talking, man. In other words, nor preaching charity to the poor. But they themselves shall go about gathering up sinners, the poor, the helpless, orphans, bring them into comfortable homes, teaching them how to live, to be a glory to me and my kingdom. To such persons, my angels from the second resurrection shall come and minister in my name for the joy of the earth. And when such people die, they shall be received into the second resurrection, escaping the first. Neither shall any other people in all the world escape the place of the first resurrection. It says, whether they are kings, queens, beggars, Brahmins, Buddhists, Christians, Mohammedans, or any other pretenders in heaven or earth, behold, the day of the preaching of professions is at an end. I will have practice only. No more talk. No more talk, brother. It says, whoever is not my organic kingdoms on earth shall go into my inorganic kingdoms in heaven. For I created the heavens and the earth and all things in them, so that like goes with like. That will conclude the reading of this word, and may the Creator be praised, man. Blessing. I love it. He tells you about the inside of man and how he's not getting away with it. You're not getting away with it, man. Your materialism, with your corruption, you can't get away with it. Hey, Ace to that, sister. It's good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. That concludes the reading of this word, brethren. I'm dropped a link in keep it open for about another minute or so, see if anybody wants to share anything. But telling you, man, we can't, our reality, we, I certainly, I'm just, I can just see that we have come to the end of the line as a corrupt kingdom of men on earth. And, you just have to wonder how the creator, he can allow so much that's going on, the evil, the amount of evil, the decline in the spiritual elevation, the grade of this nation. And it looks like the worst is yet to come. I hate to say that, man. I hate to be negative like that. But I don't know what else to think when I look around. So, all right. Well, anyway, shoot, man, that's the best I can do for today. And no videos over the weekend. But I just want to thank you, brethren, for coming in and checking me out and having fellowship together. And man, oh man. So let me give thanks to the Creator for this opportunity. Try to share, be a light while I'm in this reality, brethren. Pray the Creator give you understanding, give you peace, harmony, and joy, and that He protects you, and that the kingdom come quickly. So until I see you Monday, Creator willing, peace and blessing. Shalom.